So recently I noticed I was falling behind on my unread manga, with plenty of series just collecting dust waiting for me to read them. Within that group, one stood out to me, an old Tokyo Pop series called Soul Rescue. My experience reading this series was very unique in how I felt it had such obvious and constant flaws, but still left me wanting more. Released in 2001, Soul Rescue was the debut manga for Aya Kanno. Despite being published in the Shojo magazine Hanayume, it's an action fantasy series that reads very shonen. If you wanted to chart out Soul Rescue's attributes to one demographic or the other, you end up with a pretty interesting mix. Its bad boy protagonist, flowery close-ups, love at first sight subplot, and plus undertones are all classic shoujo, while the general plot setup, action, and conflict push it more towards shonen. Soul Rescue follows an angel warrior named Renji, who's known as the Sword of God. Renji has created quite the mess for himself by causing mass amounts of destruction in heaven when fighting off devils. We are told repeatedly Renji is so violent that both angels and devils think that he's one bad day away from switching sides. Since God, who looks like that one villain from Pokemon Drowsy, doesn't want his star pupil to fall into the wrong hands, he sends Renji on a quest. He banishes the boy to Earth with a special power called, wait for it, Soul Rescue, to save 10,000 people and learn the value of life. Even though he can watch over Renji whenever necessary and even intervene since he's, God, he chooses to send a goody two-shoes angel named Kaito with him. And just like that, we're dropped into the desert. Neither Renji or Kaito want to be on Earth, and neither want to be around the other one. Or so they say.
Kaito, you wouldn't happen to be suffering, would you?
Right away, we run into our first plot point, I mean new character. Linda has a dark shadow around her that Renji can detect with some special god goggles.
Oh yeah, she's hot!
If Renji can figure out what Linda needs to be saved from, he can check the first human off his list. At first glance, she seems like a regular friendly waiter. Aside from some creepy customers, everything looks fine. But then, turn the page and oh my god, how am I supposed to read this? There are panels within panels, speech bubbles go in every possible direction, there's on-screen narration at weird points, it's just a lot. And maybe, because of how much information is being thrown at us per page, we hit the climax of this section like 3 pages later. We're told that Jenny is a fake name and she's been on the run from a gang called the Bandits. She used to work for them, but after killing her target, she felt bad for the young children her victim left behind. So Jenny took the kids and vanished. Right on cue, the bandits appear and we get to see the rogue angel Renji in action. How badly is he going to beat these men? Will he even kill some of them to prove that he deserves his banishment? Will his violence scare Jenny, who he now cares about? No, none of those actually. He and Kaito knock out the bandits, but while they're busy, Jenny does get stabbed and killed.
No, don't! You're so sexy,
This would be a great opportunity for Renji, if he was actually brutally attacking the bandits, to see how his actions harm those he cares about and how he needs to change his ways. But since we still haven't seen Renji do anything overly violent yet, maybe we're saving that for later. Renji doesn't want to lose her and in a desperate moment unleashes Soul Rescue for the first time. With a kiss, he brings Jenny back and saves the day. After wiping Jenny's memory, Kaito remarks on how much Renji has grown since his violent days, and he truly is an angel after all. It's been 1 chapter? Are we done? Like, why do I feel like the series just concluded? What likely happened is that the one-shot Soul Rescue started out as obviously needed some sort of ending, and it was translated very closely into this first chapter. And like most one-shots I've read, the ending always seems pretty unearned since we don't have any time to flesh out any of the real conflict. Aside from some wonky layouts and some missed opportunities, that first chapter was pretty good. Or maybe I'm looking back with some rose-tinted glasses. Feeling on top of the world, Renji starts off chapter 2 by kissing a princess in a coma, only for it to do nothing, and is now being hunted by the palace guard, with an opening scene that great and the introduction of my favorite character, Shahala. Shalala? S-H-A-L-A-L-A? Shahala, yeah. Just every time I say it completely differently, pretend that I'm saying it the same way every time, please. And the introduction of my favorite character. You'd think Chapter 2 would be winning on all fronts. Unfortunately, each chapter of Soul Rescue follows the exact same formula. Renji narrates to us about how he's a rogue angel who's being punished, and immediately encounters a beautiful woman who he needs to kiss after someone commits a blatantly evil crime against them. Chapter 2 gives us a saving the cat out of a tree moment when Renji jumps into the river to find a pendant Shahala dropped. So let's recap. Renji has saved a woman from the bandits, played with her kids, gone easy against every human he's fought, including the man who murdered Jenny, he just got tied up, and is using his angel powers to save a trinket that he doesn't know the value of, but remarks,
You can't just give up on something valuable to you.
he really is just perfect. He's a good boy who does good things, which undercuts the whole premise of this book. So maybe that's just how this book wants to transition. We're past the bad boy era and fully in shonen protagonist does good things era. Except, like 5 pages later, Kaito remarks that Renji hasn't learned a thing and is still a rogue angel who doesn't have any understanding of his actions. Later on, we're introduced to 2 devils, who while fighting Renji tell him that he's clearly too violent to be an angel. Hell, he's worse than Vinny and Toy, the actual devils. We're being constantly told a fact about our main character that is verifiably false. What's annoying about it is that there is a really cool story to be told here. In one of the last real chapters of Soul Rescue, we deal with some pretty intense ideas around racism, classism, and ableism. There's clearly good stuff in this manga, we're just not really seeing it take shape. What makes this worse is that Aya Kanno leaves notes after every chapter. Almost every one of them is a mix of how happy she is for the opportunity, but how much self-doubt she has. Despite the great art for her debut, especially for the time and genre, she doesn't like it. Despite the gorgeous women in the series, she says she can't draw women. Some of the notes even talk about how her notes suck. After Soul Rescue, Aya Kanno went off to create a few different longer running series, but seeing this level of self-doubt in a book that clearly has a lot going for it is hard. And I get it. Like, it feels like I spend every day crying and stressing over Maidral. My writing has to be perfect. Like, what if this page layout doesn't work the way I want it to? What if I'm working with the wrong artist? What if people don't respond to this kind of storytelling? What if Spec should just be a more basic protagonist and I shouldn't take a chance on something new? What if it fails and I've thrown half a decade and tens of thousands of dollars down the drain? What if I can't find an audience? We all learn from analyzing a work we don't think hit its potential, but we don't just learn objectively what does and does not work. It's not always that easy. We learn very subjectively what we do and do not respond to. A lot of shonen come out of the gate way too fast. The protagonists are often kept very one note at the beginning because there's so much the world has to show you in its screen time. What I learned from Soul Rescue is that even if it's from a different point in time, with someone I'll never know, I'm not alone. And my dream of Maidral can be made into reality, even if it quite literally bankrupts me. But following your dreams is an idea that hijacks Soul Rescue's final few chapters, and that is what inspired this video. At the end of Volume 2, we are treated to a one-shot titled Dream Colored Junk, and if I could find literally anything about it online, I would not spoil it for you, because it's fantastic. Unfortunately, the only thing online I can find is a cover page on a Russian website, so you're gonna have to deal with some wonky colored pictures I took from the physical release. It follows a young girl named Yume, abandoned by her mother who fled to Tokyo to pursue her dreams. Yume now finds herself in the same city after the passing of her grandmother. She leaves her remote island as a dying wish from her grandmother to find a dream of her own, but Yume believes dreams only distract people from their real lives and has vowed to never become a selfish person like her mother. Yume runs into a street vendor selling toys. He sets her on the path to an apartment building offering free housing to anyone with a dream, called the Junkyard. For a teenager with no money in a big city, it's worth swallowing some of your hatred for this opportunity. Yume lies to her new roommates and says that she dreams of becoming an idol singer. While out the next day avoiding her roommates, Yume runs into the toy vendor again. And hey, look, I actually know which order to read this page in. He tells Yume that he sent her there to expose the dark secrets of the Junkyard. Isn't it weird a place that huge can support all these young adults and teens? They must have something hidden in the basement. The vendor says that he used to live at the Junkyard. His dream was to open a toy store, but upon inquiring about the purpose of the secret room and where they get the money to support themselves, he was cast aside. Now he wants Yume's help for revenge. Her first attempt to access the basement was stopped by Chika, the hot one. and soon after, another roommate discovers Yume has been lying about practicing to be an idol. Before her cover is completely blown, Yume helps Chika with his manga and learns more about her roommates and their dreams. Yume ends up making a mad dash for the basement, only to see it's a disorganized vault of dreams each tenant has had. Now seeing the positive impact dreams have had on the lives of her new friends, Yume tells the vendor that she can't support his plan anymore.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. I can't go along with your plan anymore.
The toy he gave her later bursts into a welcome message for her, as it's revealed the vendor is the rich backer of the junkyard and was just testing her all along to see if her hatred of dreams could be changed. Now with a dream of her own, to find a real dream, Yume stays at the junkyard and brings an end to this shoujo one-shot stuffed into the back pages of a cancelled shonen. Reading Dreamcolor Junk feels like a much more personal story, and what makes it better is the one author note included. Aya Kanno shares how much love she has for the characters in this story, and how some of them are even modeled after aspects of her. Reading Soul Rescue's 2 volumes feels like a deeply personal look at a talented artist's journey through doubt, while they constantly knock at the door of potential, but don't manage to fully open it until the end, where we're then gifted with a short one-shot that is not only executed better, but seems to be more fulfilling for the author. Seeing just the progress made throughout 1 year, now 20 years later, I bet a Soul Rescue reboot, where it has the time and audience to fully explore the theme she began to establish, would be a hit. So thank you for watching, and if you want to help make my shonen manga Maidral a hit, click the playlist on the left to learn more. And if you want another manga video, click the video on the right.